Hello, everybody. This is Napa Fan here, and we are here at the Daytona International Speedway Saturday night for a live event. Never before have we done this, and we got a couple guys alongside us here tonight for this event. 39 drivers, 2 classes, 87 laps, 2.4 hours here at Daytona. Right now, I got myself Cody Sill and Top Dragster alongside me. And Cody, you're excited because this is literally the first time you ever done this. You're in the number, oh, I can't remember. I think the number 60. Either way,
43.
42. 43, yeah, I can't remember. But anyways, you're excited for this one. I know you are. I know a lot of us are excited for this. So, what are your expectations in this race? Do you think you're going to get a good run? I mean, it's 2.4 hours, got a lot of time to move away from the back to the front.
Yeah, I think that since it's a long race, I think we gotta. I mean, obviously, knowing my driving capabilities, I'll probably mess up early. But luckily, since this is a long race, we'll probably be able to come back and really show what we got in this race.
Definitely, and we got Top Dragster as well. You missed the Sinus, but you're definitely looking forward to this as well, I'm assuming. And probably saw this and like, oh my goodness, what's this? And it's going to be a 2.4-hour race, so a lot can happen in this one. We will have pit stops. How do you think this race is going to play out? Do you think we're going to see a lot of passing, or do you think it's going to be whoever gets the jump at the start?
Um, I think I think we will see a lot of passing. This is a very long race, so I'm not going to think that there's not going to be any passing. I think it's going to be a very exciting race, entertaining race, a very um I think even probably a physical race here for us. Long one, but definitely I'm just really excited.
And I am too. I actually was thinking the Top Dragster was in here. He actually left, but that's fine. We're going to go ahead and get you guys, I guess, part of the starting lineup the old-fashioned way, I guess, because it's the best way we can do it, doing it live. So in the GT Le Mans class, this is the faster class. There are 2 classes, 2 separate races going on at the same time. Got the number 27, Zachary Fitzwater, starting on the pole. The number 23 alongside on that is Eli Bright. And both those guys, they're pretty good NR 2003 drivers. I think a lot of wins in the NR community between those 2 guys. In row number 2, Griffin Lynn. In the number 8, will start alongside the number 20 of Ace Garcia. The number 2 of William Brock alongside the 10, driven by Michael Campto. Trey Barto, by far the most experienced driver in the field for this race, driving the number 4 alongside the 7 of Justin Roberts. Number 38, Stuart Grettins, also a very experienced driver. He is alongside Roger Ray in the 13, the 59 car, driven by Juan Garcia in his first ever start here on Napa Fan, alongside Luke Ryan. Got the number 15 of Jake West, the 34 of Alex Stewart, and then the final car in the GT Le Mans class, the 49 of Diego Yepes. 98 is going to start on the pole in the GT Daytona class. That car is driven by Richard Kinghart, the number 1 of Nathan Ormond, alongside the 55 of Christian Vargas. His first career start on Napa Fan here tonight. Number 16, that's Justin Zidell, alongside the 60 of Riley Spurley in his first ever start. Number 22 car, driven by Alex Mann, and the 11 of Davey Johnson. 86 of Matthew Phillips, and the number 11 of... Wait, sorry, that's not the number 11. Forget what number that is, actually. My goodness, I completely forget the number of that car. But it's not the number 11, because that's the number 11, so, I don't like doing this, but that's a 72. I think it's 11 because of 7-11. That's Derek Hamill in the number 72. Number 3, Chespin Pokey. Number 12, Zach Ryan. Number 75, Ryan Kendall. The 56, driven by Micah Knapp. Got the 71 here as well. That car is driven by Nathan Stapleton. And then we got ourselves the... I believe this is the number 88 of Brad Stover. Apologize about not knowing these cars yet. I forget the numbers for a lot of these. 21 of Trey Wright. 45. That car is driven by Cody Smart. We got the 33 of Alex Tanker. The number 9. That car is driven by Dale Salzman. That is the 99 of Patrick Smith, the 66 of Jay Jefferson, the 43 car driven by Cody Sill, the number 6 of Noah Clifton, and then the 64 of Jordan Lopez. 2.4 hours for this event here tonight, and anybody could win this event in either class because we got both classes going on. Very high chance that the guy who starts in the back of these classes could possibly get the victory. But anyways, I don't know who's in the call anymore, but what do you guys expect in this thing? Do you think it's going to be a crash fest possibly? There are no cautions, by the way, and I will say that we're not going to have any cautions in this event. And there will be pit stops as well. So how do you think it's just going to play out from a competitive standpoint?
I think it's gonna be very energetic. Obviously, no cautions. I think that puts in a little bit more of a cautionary, I guess I would say. But I don't think that's really going to affect the racing too much. Everyone's still going for this. This is a big race. This is, like you said, a one-time deal, but I don't think that's going to really affect anything here. This is just a beautiful idea that you had here, and I'm really excited that I get to race in it and that everyone else gets to race in it as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I believe we have Caleb back in. What do you think is going to happen in this event here tonight? Guess we don't have him back in. I don't know. Thing is, if I went and checked...
Yeah, he's muted. I'm on my phone, so he's muted.
Okay. I only got one person in, but that's fine. I think we'll get some more throughout the night here. Actually hoping we actually got more, but hey, you know what? That's perfectly fine. Of course, Elijah Gordon, he's doing his talk show right now. We're kind of in a competitive, a little competitive with him right now, I guess. I think that might be part of the reason why a lot of these guys aren't here. I know Caleb's having mic issues, and that's why you can't hear him. But we do have Cody still, so we got somebody here, and definitely looking forward to seeing what this race is going to bring. And like I said, 87 laps, and that came out to about 2.4 hours, or yeah, 2.4 hours in this race. And it's going to be interesting. I have no idea how this race is going to play out, but all I know is that it's definitely going to be a historic night for these guys. Zachary Fitzwater and Eli Bright. That was the top two in the fictional qualifying session that we had. Definitely two very good drivers, and both of them looking to get a win here tonight in the Daytona 2.4 hours. First time event in the NRLOA. A very long event, but it's going to be a fun one here tonight. Live from the Daytona International Speedway, we're green flag racing here in the Daytona 2.4 hours.
And the green flag is out. Pretty even start for everyone. Looks like they're already top 4 or top 3. Looks like they're already getting out of the single file there.
Right now, the number 1 taking the lead in GT Daytona. That is Nathan Ormond, who got the jump on the pole sitter, the 98 of Richard Kinghart. So a great run there for Nathan Ormond. Hasn't really raced too much on Napa Fan in the past, but definitely a great jump for him on the start. Back up to the GT Le Mans class. A little bit of a gap there. The 27 of Zachary Fitzwater with an advantage on the number 8, Griffin Lynn, taking the second position away from the number 23 of Eli Bright, who fell to 5th on the start. You got Trey Bartow here, and as they enter the bus stop chicane for the first time, this is where we're going to see a lot of action, I believe. And as you can see, Trey Bartow, he's going to get a run here on the number 2 machine of William Brock. And Brock might not have gotten in to that bus stop too well. They're going to bunch up here for the 3rd position. 23 car of Eli Bright, the number 20 of Ace Garcia. And they're all on each other there for the 3rd place.
Yeah, I had no idea what happened to William Brock there. It looks like out of the bus stop, heading into the turn 3 and 4 there. at Daytona, the famous turn 3-4. It looks like he just did not get going.
And
So
looks
they
like
hit
he's
that
falling
curb real
back
hard.
even more right now. The number 10 trying to get around him, that is Michael Canto. Check back in on GT Daytona. And the number 16, driven by Justin Zeidel, has taken the lead. Looks like the one might have slipped up. And this is going to be a very interesting class because these guys are going to go slower than the GT Le Mans cars, but the Le Mans class is going to definitely catch up to them by the end of this event. And, they could definitely get in the way and cause an effect in the Le Mans class, but they're also racing themselves, and they're not racing for the overall lead, but it's still a win right here if they happen to win this class. Number 1, looking to take advantage of the 98 of Richard Kingart going wide, exiting the road course part of the racetrack. But it is still the number 16 who holds on to the lead. The number 1 actually led lap number 1 in this event. Nathan Orman leading lap 1 in GT Daytona. And the number 16, driven by Justin Zeidel, now out front. Check back in on the Le Mans class. And the number 27 is Zachary Fitzwater, currently holding on to a comfortable lead. Remember, there are going to be a lot of pit stops in this race here tonight. And, those are definitely going to have a major effect on who gets the victory. But Zachary Fitzwater and Griffin Lynn, a couple of guys still, I guess you can say, pulling out to a good lead. You know, I'm tired. I haven't recorded an Inter 3 race in so long. It's going to be a shaky night. But you know what? We're going to have fun anyway. Number 20 to the inside. That is Ace Garcia trying to get around the number 10 of Michael Canto.
And right here, this seems to be an area right here where, well, not right here, but the area that we're coming up to, yeah, right up here. As I exit the road course part, it seems like a lot of drivers are getting pretty loose. We saw that last lap here. That number 98 got loose right there.
Yeah, you're right. We are seeing a lot of guys kind of overshoot that final corner coming back onto the main speedway. And that could definitely play a factor into who gets this win. Want to definitely watch these Le Mans cars going through the bus stop chicane. This is definitely a very shaky spot. And you see them kind of run through the grass right there. And sometimes they can check it up through that area and allow the guy behind them to close in. Now, drafting is going to be very important on the straightaway part of this race. Of the speedway, I should say, because when I was doing the testing, they were closing up quite a bit. Fitzwater still out front in the 27 and pulling out to a rather significant lead on Griffin Lynn, but there are many places that make mistakes on this racetrack, and it's an 87-lap race, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see where all those guys fall into place at the end. In GT Daytona, the number 16 still out front, but a much closer battle for the lead in this class. 98, Richard Kingart, who started on the pole for GT Daytona, currently runs in the second position behind the 16 of Justin Zeidel.
Zeidel looks like he's been doing pretty good here with that lead, but Kinghart's not letting him get out of his sights, staying right behind him here.
Number 16, Justin Zeidel. He's going to be a team owner in Season 7 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see what his team does over there. But right now, before the season begins 2 weeks from now, looking to get a win in this special event. You see Zachary Fitzwater in the background there. That's a really neat thing about this racetrack. You can kind of see those guys in the background, and the GT Le Mans cars definitely starting to pull away from the GT Daytona cars. And I'm really going to be intrigued when these Le Mans cars hit the Daytona cars. The Daytona cars are much slower than these Le Mans cars are, and they are going to have a major effect on who wins in the Le Mans class.
Yeah, and obviously that's probably going to be a little while. We might even possibly have pit stops before they catch up. Then more likely we will. But definitely, and right here you see that the second place they're catching up.
Griffin Lynn.
To Fitzwater. Yeah, Lynn. Catching up to him there. But
Griffin
I
definitely got
think
a good run there, and I think Fitzwater might have messed it up a little bit. So, like I said earlier on, a lot of places that make mistakes here at this racetrack, and I believe that occurred for Fitzwater just a little bit. Okay,
yeah, and I'm
back in.
already getting. I mean, this is still we're only 5 laps in here, but it's already seeing the problem spots. You know, the exit of the road course, and then I'm also seeing problems out of the bus stop into the road course. So watch out for those spots.
Mhm. It's definitely going to be interesting throughout the race seeing how these drivers just handle those trouble spots on this racetrack. And, you know, that's when the passing's going to occur. We saw that very big gap close in a little bit between Fitzwater and Griffin Lynn earlier on. And it might close in a little bit here. And like I said, drafting's going to be a major part on the speedway part of the racetrack. And I think Griffin Lynn might very well get an advantage on the rest of the field, or at least on Zachary Fitzwater. A lot of things are going on right now. People are emailing me and everything, and I gotta like pay attention to all of it, and I can't talk straight. I'm sorry. You know, like I've said, it's been a long time. Gotta get all the stupid out of me. I once said that in a Chick-fil-A Cup Series race. I was looking back at them. I gotta get all the stupid out of me before we get to the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. That's the main thing. But still, Griffin Lynn, he's definitely at an advantage on Fitzwater because he has that drafting help. But Fitzwater might be an advantage once he closes in on the GT Daytona class. There is an issue on the number 12 of Zach Ryan. Some damage there. And the 45 of Cody Smart. Oh, and somebody threw the grass. That is the 66 car of Jay Jefferson. An issue for him. He might not have gotten through the bus stop too well. Somebody's coming down the pit lane. That's the 64, driven by Jordan Lopez. So, something might have happened. Oh, we got another car in the wall. 21. Trey Wright. And they are not figuring it out there. 43 around. 75 bumps into him, and another trouble spot right there. That's the 43 of Cody Sill. That's your driver. Unfortunately caught up in that one, but I believe he'll be able to continue. The 21 going around Trey Wright. Development driver to Al Lagasse, or maybe the other way around, but still, tough break for those guys. Number 60, Riley Spurley, also back in here as well. So we had some issues in GT Daytona. And of course, you know, we're going live here. We can't really review everything as it all happens, but still, a lot of action happening here tonight at Daytona.
Looks like that all started here at the start of the road course. Like I said here a couple laps ago, that is going to be, looks like a trouble spot. They hit over that curb, and if you don't give them enough room, they're going to bounce off that curb and bounce into you. Looks like that's caused problem for the Daytona class already.
Number 98 here of Richard Kinghart, drafting the 16 car of Justin Zeidel for the GT Daytona lead. And the number 98 is closing in very fast on the 16 right now. And that 16 did not get through that rumble strip too well. And that could have allowed the 98 to close in, but it did not happen. How about Davey Johnson? And he's pretty much one of the most experienced guys in this class. Davey Johnson won a few Chick-fil-A Cup Series races before, but he's going to be a team owner in season number 7 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Going to be owning the North State Racing team. Definitely looking forward to seeing that team run, especially. I painted all the cars for it. But Davey Johnson in the number 11. Trying to capitalize, I should say, on the two leaders ahead of him in his class, but not much going on right now. And I see the Le Mans cars getting around the number 12 here of Zach Ryan. They're trying to surpass him without running into him. But right now, it's still Zachary Fitzwater leading this field in the 27. Griffin Lynn had closed in on him, but Fitzwater has opened that gap up again, but then it closes back up. Griffin Lynn, you know, he's not letting Fitzwater completely get away here, and it's going to be very interesting to see if he can hold this whole thing off. I believe the Daytona cars are actually coming in maybe for their first set of pit stops in this race, possibly. I don't believe that's the case, but you see the 45. Yeah, 45 is actually one of those guys involved in the crash. That was Cody Smart, so that's why he was coming off of the pit lane.
And the one thing I just want to point out here, I sound a little stuffy. I'm getting over the flu,
At least
so
the
that's
flu is
probably
not
why I get a
contagious
little.
through the internet.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I hope you don't get sick. Um, but yeah, luckily we got to it, so that's why I sound a little stuffy. But anyway, yeah, definitely seems like a lot of the Daytona cars are pitting. It looks like most of them are
I
from the
believe a lot
wreckage.
of the ones that are pitting might be ones who have gained damage in accidents. You see the number 9 down as well. It's Dale Salzman. He might have been involved in something, and I think the Daytona cars might be having an issue entering the road course here. 75, Ryan Kendall. Um, he just got into the wall there, and that's the trouble spot. That little kink right there, as you can see, that's where all these guys are
Mm-hmm.
having the issue here today. Zachary Fitzwater now has Griffin Lynn right behind him again, and this battle is definitely heating up in the GT Le Mans class. And they're closing in on the number 66 of Jay Jefferson. And I believe Jefferson was involved in one of those accidents earlier on, and that's why he's at the end of the field here. I think a lot of these Daytona cars have come down the pit lane. It is still in the GT Daytona class, the number 16 of Justin Zidell, but it was really close the last time by. We're going to focus on this Le Mans lead right here as Griffin Lynn trying to force Fitzwater into a mistake. And if he can do that, he might be able to capitalize for the lead and the win in this event. So number 27 holding on to the lead for now, but he has the number 66, a GT Daytona car ahead of him. And he's going to have to drive around him at some point here. He's going to try to dive to the inside, and the 66 blocks him. And in IMSA, that is
Whoa.
illegal to do the blocking. But I believe they are going to split him right here. So now the 66 in the way of Griffin Lynn. So that's going to keep Lynn from closing in on the number 27 of Zachary Fitzwater. Also got Eli Bright
Well,
here.
you
He's
said it.
3.27 seconds behind, and not too far behind him is Ace Garcia in the 20, the number 10, with Michael Cantor runs in the 5th position. I believe all of the GT Le Mans cars, actually 2 of them have had issues, I believe, in this race. Find them. No, they haven't. All 15 of them are on the lead lap still, and none of them have had issues, so that's a good thing there. And we've had a pass for the lead in GT Daytona. Apparently the 98 has surpassed the 16 for the lead, and the 16 has fallen to 4th in the class. Actually, no, 5th in the
Possible
class.
problems.
So something happened to him there. And Justin Zidell has lost the lead in GT Daytona. It is now the 98 of Richard Kinghart, who started this race on the pole position, leading the field. The number 11 of Davey Johnson is second. The 55 is up to the 3rd position. That car is driven by Christian Vargas in his first career Napa fan start here tonight. And pretty good run for him in his first career start, running 3rd. The 72 car of Derek Hamill runs in the 4th position, with Zidell running 5th. Back to the GT Le Mans lead. 23 trying to get around the 66 now, and the number 8 of Griffin Lynn trying to close in on Fitzwater. He has not been able to get to him quite yet, but he's not let him pull away. Believe Eli Bright might be closing in on these guys here soon. Same with Ace Garcia and Michael Canto. I believe they might be within drafting distance of our leaders, and might be within a fuel window right here. 23 coming down the pit lane. That is Eli Bright for his first stop of the race. I believe he's the only GT Le Mans car coming down the pit lane right now.
Right now, I think last lap we saw the GT Daytonas go around that curve that Cody Smart just went through, and I don't know, but it seems like they're hitting that curve a lot harder than the Le Mans cars are.
Yeah, I believe you're
Mashing them.
right. A lot of the GT Daytona cars have had issues tonight, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're hitting those curbs. They almost seem to be going into the corners more aggressively than the GT Le Mans cars, which is very interesting. As you can see, like the way they're trying to run through that corner, it's almost like off-roading. And that is 33, so it's not the 11. I believe we've had some guys come in that class. I'm trying to locate them. Here they are, the leaders in GT Daytona. The number 11 of Davey Johnson, I believe, came off first here. We're going to see how this whole thing cycles through. I believe Richard Kinghart might have stayed out. Trying to locate him on the racetrack, it's kind of a difficult thing to do because they're all over the place right now, and maybe we should have just only had one class for this race. Very complicated.
I don't know. I like how the Le Mans class is a lot smoother. You get to the Daytona class and blues around here, but it definitely puts in some interesting racing. It seems like it has also affected the Le Mans cars.
I believe Zachary Fitzwater has come down the pit lane, so our first cycle of pit stops here tonight. And that 27 almost getting in the way there of the 64. So we're going to have to figure this whole thing out as it cycles through. I don't know where Richard Kinghart is in the 98. There he is right there. And he actually did stay out there, so this is his first stop of the race. So with him, looks like an issue there for the number 15, one of the Le Mans cars. That's Jake West coming off the pit lane. Pit lane might also be an issue in this race. They don't seem to be getting off of it too well. But I believe everybody's still on the racetrack, so that's definitely a great sign for these guys. And as long as they can all stay on the racetrack and stay running, we should have a pretty good race. Griffin Lynn, he's now stuck behind two Daytona cars, but I think he's coming down the pit lane this time, and he is. And there you can see him aborting to the pit lane there on lap 12 of 87 here at the Daytona International Speedway. So we're going to see where he comes out in relation to Zachary Fitzwater. There's the number 10 of Michael Canto. And Canto is not too far behind the 8. If he can get a good pit stop here, he might have a pretty good chance at possibly even taking the lead. And that would definitely be a major thing for Michael Canto. He's one of the new drivers here on Napa Fan. And a win in an event like this would definitely mean a lot to that driver. But looks like it's going to stay the same distance. There's the number 27 of Zachary Fitzwater. And here's Griffin Lynn. So this is going to be interesting. They're going to come off at about the same time, but I think Lynn is going to get the advantage. And I believe that is for the lead in the GT Le Mans class as well. So Griffin Lynn leading the field here at Daytona, but Fitzwater is not too far behind. If Fitzwater has all the momentum from running a lap. So we're going to see what he can do on the number 8. But anyways, back to GT Daytona, and I believe this whole thing is cycled out in that class to it being the number 98 of Richard Kinghart leading the class. And he's got a pretty significant lead right now, I do believe, if he is in fact the leader, and he is. Griffin Lynn, or excuse me, not Griffin Lynn. I think Griffin Lynn drove this car when we did the GT Championship last year. I can't quite remember. They just all blur in my head now. But Davey Johnson is second in that class as Kinghart is pulled away. And if you remember, Richard Kinghart won the 2016 2 Hours of the Glen in this series, and that was when it was an overall series. We did not have the two classes, so that number 98 is definitely a big factor into winning this race. He's won an endurance race like this before. And I believe he might possibly win another one here tonight. A 5-second lead in the GT Daytonas. How about this battle for the lead right here? Fitzwater right on the back bumper of Griffin Lynn.
Seems like
So what do you think Fitzwater's going to do here? I mean, he
I feel
definitely
like
seems to have the stronger car. Do you think he's going to be able to get around Griffin Lynn here?
but the question is, I don't know really where, and is it going to be a really, I guess, a pass because it seems like so many cars are messing up. Lynn can just mess up, and uh, he can just pass him. So right there. You see, it's like he messed up right there. So Lynn pulls a little bit away, but I definitely think that he's going to get it back up to him, and we're going to see more battling for the lead here.
I definitely think you're right. It's been a pretty close race so far here for the Daytona 2.4 hours. Lap 14 of 87, about, I say, maybe 25 or so minutes into the event. And you're right, I mean, there are a lot of places on this racetrack where these guys can make mistakes, and I think the number 8 might have made a slight mistake there through the bus stop chicane, but Fitzwater did the same thing. It's a very tough corner to get through, as you can see. They hit that rumble strip, and then they go through the grass, and if they go through the grass just a little too much, it becomes an issue. And they might possibly run through that grass just a little too much in this race and slow themselves down. What about these three guys right here? They're all on each other. The 23 of Eli Bright, Michael Canto, and Ace Garcia. Bright's third, Canto is fourth, and the number 20 is fifth. So very tight competition there in GT Le Mans. Back to GT Daytona. I'm going to focus on this here, and Kinghart has shown up so far. You see, that's Davey Johnson entering turn 3. Well, here's the 98 exiting turn 4, NASCAR turn 4, I should say. So, Richard Kinghart having a comfortable lead right now in the number 98 Dodge Viper. As he is holding off veteran Davey Johnson, the 72 of Derek Hamill, the 55 of Christian Vargas in his first career Napa Fan race, and the number 3 of Chespin Pokey. It's been a while since he's driven here on Napa Fan, but he is there in the 5th position, driving the number 3 machine. A good battle between Hamill and Johnson for second. And the number 72 trying to get a run to the inside. It's tough to do so, but it's still possible. You see the number 3 here. That's Chespin Pokey running in the 5th position. Number 12, multiple laps down, I do believe, or 1 lap down. That is Zach Ryan, who was involved in an accident earlier on. We got the 88 here. That car driven by Brad Stover. He is currently... I figured this whole thing out because it says the 71 is ahead of him, but I don't see the 71 on the racetrack. There's the 71. Nathan Stapleton running 7th right now. Then the 88 car of Brad Stover is 6th. That's how they run in GT Daytona. You see the big gap that number 98 has right now. Not too eventful in this class at the moment, but still a very long race, and it's far from over. You never know when that 98 could possibly crash, and we got ourselves a good battle for the lead in GT Le Mans. Let's just say that. Griffin Lynn, Zachary Fitzwater. Get where Griffin Lynn started. I didn't take a picture of the starting lineup, so I probably should have, but still, Griffin Lynn leading this field right now. Getting around the number 27 of Zachary Fitzwater, and an issue with the number 6, as you can tell. Very slow. That's Noah Clifton holding up Fitzwater, and that is not good at all for the lead battle in GT Le Mans. Lynn's going to pull away. He got around the number 8 just fine, or number 6, I should say, and you see the 45, Cody Smart, bumping through the bus stop chicane. It's just going to be like this all night from this point. These Le Mans cars trying to get around the GT Daytona field. This is going to be mayhem throughout this whole event here at Daytona. So now the lead is over 2 seconds, and that was pretty much because of the number 6 of Noah Clifton, who held up Fitzwater exiting NASCAR Turn 2. that allowed these guys, I think, to close in. And now you got Michael Canto running third, with Ace Garcia fourth, and Eli Bright fifth. Trey Barto running sixth. And driving my favorite car, the Corvette Racing number 4. Great run for him so far in the top 7. You got the number 7 of Justin Roberts. It's been a while since he's raced consistently here on Napa Fan. I believe he was in one of the special events last year at the end of the season in 2017. But he's back, the second ever winner on Napa Fan, by the way. And he won a race on this channel before anybody else in the field. So definitely great run for Justin Roberts, running 7th in the GT Le Mans class. Fitzwater now trying to get around. I believe it's the 75 of Ryan Kendall. Griffin Lynn has gotten around the 9 of Dale Salzman.
Well, and I would say we're still kind of early in this race. But right now I think we've seen the pattern of really the racing here. It's actually flopped from the Daytona class having the battle for the lead. Now it's the Le Mans class who is having the battle for the lead. I think Fitzwater is definitely going to catch up to Griffin Lynn here before too long. I think they're both kind of exiting traffic right now. So obviously I could be wrong about that, but definitely a great race so far. And I hope everyone has enjoyed this.
Yeah, I hope you guys are definitely enjoying. This first time going live on an actual race, and huge thanks to Cody Sill for joining me here tonight for this event. We'll probably get some more guys once our competitor on the Enter 3 community ratings, I guess you can say, the Elijah Gordon Talk Show ends. A couple of those guys will probably join us later on, but here we are, 18 laps in the Daytona 2.4 hours. And technically this is a Kubota GT championship race, but it's not really any points or anything. It's just a special event, all for the glory for this one race and one race alone. And in GT Daytona, the leader is currently Richard Kingart. Whoa! How about that? 21. That is Trey Wright. I believe he's at least one lap down. I think he was involved in the crash, and he hit those curbs like crazy. The car bounced in the air, so definitely a moment there for the GT Daytona driver, but he's a lap down even in the GT Daytona class, so not much going for him here tonight. Number 11 of Davey Johnson, though, trying to close in on Kingart. You can see him down the straightaway there, entering the final corner, heading on to the main straightaway. So we'll have to see if Davey Johnson can possibly close in on our leader in the GT Daytona class. Meanwhile, Griffin Lynn has pulled out to a significant lead on Zachary Fitzwater. I believe the lap traffic definitely playing in the favor of Griffin Lynn. And he's been able to pull out to a nearly 4-second lead on the pole sitter of this race, Fitzwater. So great run for Griffin Lynn, driving the number 8. Griffin Lynn's going to be driving in the Turkey Hill Series season number 4, driving, I believe, the number 9. And definitely looking forward to seeing him drive in that series. Zachary Fitzwater, most likely, I believe, is going to attempt a return to the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And, of course, he's been in that series since its inception. And definitely trying to get another win here on Napa Fan. I believe he has 12 wins on this channel. I think he's going for number 13 here tonight at the Daytona International Speedway. We're closing in on a quarter of the way through this race, and I believe about lap 22 is when we'll hit the 25th, or, yeah, one quarter mark of this race. That's probably what I should say. But anyways, Griffin Lynn still leading in the GT Le Mans class. And in the overall field as well, the GT Le Mans winner will be the overall winner of the Daytona 2.4 hours. So we're seeing these GT Le Mans cars definitely go through that curb much better. Do you think it's going to really play a factor in the GT Daytona class? later on, because, you know, every time they hit those curves, it messes up the suspension. You think these cars can handle 2.4 hours?
Yeah, and I definitely I definitely gonna put a wear and tear on it, but yeah, I think they'll be able to do it. Uh, seems as if the Daytona class is definitely though taking the curbs harder, but I think they are I think they're going to be able to hold it.
I think you're right. I mean, I think these guys, you know, they've gotten 20 laps in without an issue. Now, that's not to say that they're going to keep the whole race like that and just avoid, I guess, a big crash. Because if they crash, you know, that could definitely knock them out. The damage is turned on, and if you mess up enough, just like Kinghart did just there, Davey Johnson in the 11, new leader in GT Daytona. Now the 98 is fine. I don't believe he's going to gain significant damage to knock himself out of the race. But just as I was saying, we could end up with a situation where one of the leaders makes a mistake through one of the corners. And that just happened. Davey Johnson, the leader, and Davey Johnson, definitely one of the more experienced drivers in this class, I believe. He's been able to hold on to it pretty well, and now he's leading this field here at Daytona. Well, very interesting moment there. Richard Kinghart now is down the 4th, as he's now stuck behind the 55 of Christian Vargas, the 72 of Derek Hamill, and leader in the GT Daytona class, Davey Johnson. Back up front to the GT Le Mans lead, and I think Griffin Lynn has been able to avoid those kinds of issues here tonight. There he is, about to pass the number 60. Car driven by Riley Spurley. Spurley, I think he had an issue earlier on in this race. He's a lap down overall. I think it's going to go 2 laps down right there as leader Griffin Lynn drives around him. A very interesting moment there. Do you think that's going to happen again throughout this race, especially in that GT Daytona class?
Yeah, and I think we saw it really early on, but yeah, definitely, and this was very significant for Whitlock. But yeah,
Kinghart.
I'm almost positive we're gonna see this again. Or Ehart, my bad.
Reagan Whitlock's not in this race, but that was Richard Kinghart. An issue with Jake Jefferson back in there. I think he might have just done the same thing that Kinghart did possibly, and you see the issue there. He slowed down. He's already a lap down in the class, I do believe, and looks like he's fallen back some more. Tough break for a number. Trying to find it here. Number 11, Davey Johnson leading, and looks like it's calmed down a little bit here, but I think we're gonna get our second set of pit stops here very shortly, and that'll definitely. We're actually kind of in the midst of it right now. Some of these guys in the back coming in, like Eli Bright. He's come down and made his second stop of the race. And that's why you're 6th right now. But I believe Griffin Lynn's still out there, and he is getting around the number 1 of Nathan Orman. Now, Nathan Orman, he was leading in the GT Daytona class earlier on. He just went a lap down. And I think he is 10th overall, 11th probably overall in the class. So, yeah, it's really confusing. We got those 2 classes of where everyone is. See Griffin Lynn here trying to get around the 22 in GT Daytona. That's Alex Mann in his first ever start. He's going to come down the pit lane as Griffin Lynn stays up front. The 86, Matthew Phillips, and Jay Jefferson are side by side ahead of the time here. Ahead of the number 8. Ahead of the time. What in the world am I trying to say? I'm reading things and I'm trying to speak at the same time, and I'm not good at it. But we're a quarter of the way through the Daytona 2.4 hours here at Daytona. And the number 8 is currently leading in GT Le Mans. I think we got pit stops going on in GT Daytona. The leader, Davey Johnson, I believe, is in. Can't quite tell if that's him or not. That is Dale Salzman, but I think he's already come in. Trying to locate him on the racetrack. And that is him right there. He still has the 72 of Derek Hamill behind him, but Hamill's pretty close to him right now. And Hamill might get a good chance at possibly taking the lead away from him here. It shows the 55 of Christian Vargas leading the field, but I believe he stayed out, and he did, in fact, stay out there. The number 3 as well, Chessman Pokey. I think he also stayed out that time. They're going to come down now. I think it's starting to get a little more clear for these guys. An interesting thing, all 39 drivers are still out here on the racetrack, which is a great thing, because if we were to crash a bunch of guys and a lot of cars would have damage out there, that could crash the game. And I don't want that to happen, especially considering how long we've been into this already, but still.
Yeah, and, obviously, game crashings, I do not like that.
Yeah, we once had that happen, but hopefully we won't have it happen tonight. Don't see Griffin Lynn out there, so I'm going to assume he has come down for his second stop of the race, and in fact he has. There he is, in the number 8. GT Daytona, I think it's going to get a little interesting, and I believe the 55 might get the lead here, but here comes Davey Johnson in the 11. Trying to close in on him, but I think Christian Vargas is going to stay out front for now. It's going to be a battle. Look at this. Side by side off the International Horseshoe.
Vargas gets it, is going to hold it.
Yeah, Vargas was able to hold on, but he's trying to hold on a veteran. This is his first ever race. But, you know, with these special events, these first-timers, they do very well. Happens quite often, and we might see it again in the GT Daytona class here. Johnson wide, exiting the road course. And onto the main straightaway, trying to get the run on the outside, I believe, is what he's attempting to do. Not quite able to do so, and Vargas is going to stay out front and hold on to the GT Daytona lead. Back to GTLM. Fitzwater is now down the pit lane. And you see him there with the first pit stall. Griffin Lynn has already made his pit stop. I'm going to see where he comes out in relation to Lynn here. And there he is, Griffin Lynn. You can see him coming through the tri-oval. Or actually, no, that is Jay Jefferson, excuse me. They have similar colors. This, no. Thought I saw that number 8. Trying to find him. And there he is. So there's Griffin Lynn. Trying to find some other guys in the class. Ace Garcia not too far behind him right now. Number 20. I believe he's going to try to take third here. Fitzwater still on the pit lane, and I think Griffin Lynn is going to easily take the lead away. So Griffin Lynn, he had that advantage before that cycle of pit stops began, and that gave him the advantage, and it's going to give him the lead here. I don't even see Fitzwater coming off yet. I think Ace Garcia will take second here. A pretty slow stop there for Zachary Fitzwater.
Yeah, and I think it was last pit stop is where Griffin Lynn took the lead. So he's held it since then, and then now he continues to grow his lead. So
I do believe he will. Of course, Ace Garcia might have closed in a little bit on our leader. But I think it's probably going to be a larger lead for the number 7 once this, or for the number 8, I should say, once this whole thing cycles through. The number 7 actually stayed out. That's Justin Roberts. He stayed out an extra lap there. I'm trying to locate him on the racetrack. I'm pretty sure he's probably already made his pit stop. And there he is. He's actually 3rd right now in the class, with Michael Campto 4th, Eli Bright 5th, Fitzwater. Oh, and Fitzwater, he got through the chicane very poorly. I'm wondering if there might be an issue on that machine, because He is losing a lot of ground in the class. All these guys getting around him here. The 34, we haven't really mentioned him. That's Alex Stewart in that machine. And Fitzwater
I
might
have not
have an
seen a
issue.
driver that high.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a problem. You see this 43 of Cody Sill, a GT Daytona car trying to pass him. That is definitely a problem. And I think he actually is a lap down. Yeah, there's definitely an issue on Zachary Fitzwater's machine, and I think everyone else noticed it before I did. Tough break for Fitzwater after starting on the front row for this thing. Major issues on that machine as all these Daytona cars are trying to pass him. I will say the racing here is fantastic. You got the number 40 here trying to get around this 27. The number 40 car driven by Luke Ryan. He's not really had the best of runs here. He's 11th in the class right now. He's going to get around Fitzwater. That opens the door for Griffin Lynn even more to possibly get this win. And as you can see here, you got the number 20 on the 99. Whoa! 99 almost clipped Ace Garcia there. That's Patrick Smith, a GT Daytona car, who is a lap down. Christian Vargas still leading with Davey Johnson second in the GT Daytona class, but they are having a doozy of a battle right now. Davey Johnson still right behind the 55 here, trying to close in and possibly take the lead. Lap 27 of 87. I will be taking a break myself here in a moment. I'll probably leave Cody to kind of do the commentating for a little bit. I'll probably just for like a couple laps. Possibly. Might not necessarily have a break, but I might. My mom might tell me to get the laundry, but other than that, should be pretty good to go. The number 11, Davey Johnson, right now running second. And then the number 55 of Christian Vargas in his first race, leading the GT Daytona class. And it is really spread out in GT Le Mans right now. You see the gaps there on the leaderboard. The number 8 of Griffin Lynn. And we're trying to locate him here on the racetrack. There he is. Has an almost 5-second lead on that guy, Ace Garcia. And then from Garcia, the next guy in the line is the number 10 of Michael Canto, who's 5 seconds behind the number 20. So it is definitely a very spread out field right now, but we saw the GT Daytona guys make mistakes, and we could see it happen again. 4 cars on the overall lead lap in GT Daytona, and here's where things are going to get interesting. You're going to have the GT Le Mans leader start to get in the way of the GT Daytona leaders, and that's when things could get really interesting. But the GT Daytona guys, they are still on the overall lead lap here. And you can see them right here. 1, 2, 3. Got Chespin Pokey now looking to join this battle. He's third behind the 11 and the 55. So, he's right in sight, possibly taking the lead. 33. That car is Alex Tanker. I don't think we've mentioned him all race long. He's got the Le Mans leader right behind him. And I believe the number 33 is 4th in GT Daytona. Richard Kinghart is 5th. Both of these guys, the 21 of Trey Wright and the 45 of Cody Smart, a lap down.
Well, I think the pit stops definitely shuffled up the standings for both the Daytona and Le Mans. As you saw, Zachary Fitzwater ended up having problems, so he would actually lap down after dominating kind of early in this race. And same with Whitlock. Whitlock kind of messed up there a little bit before pit stops, and now he's ended up a lap down.
Yes,
so pit stops definitely coming into play.
I don't know if his issue was on the racetrack or during pit stops, but either way, a problem for him, and tough to see him go like that in this event. But I think he is still out there on the racetrack. Let's see if he's on the racetrack, and he is. But he is a lap down. 26th overall. Got a lot of Daytona cars ahead of him now in the running order. Oh, this is getting interesting here. We got some Le Mans cars trying to get around some Daytona cars, and got a battle. Eli Bright trying to get third from Michael Canto, entering the road course section of the racetrack. Smoke ahead of them. I believe everything's fine. Looks like the 33 has lost the 4th position. Kinghart has gotten around Alex Tanker. And Davey Johnson has gotten around Christian Vargas for the lead in GT Daytona. You know, this happens all the time, and it happened a lot when we did the Kubota GT Championship last year. We'd be focusing on one class, and we miss a good battle in another. And it doesn't matter what class we're focusing on. It's always the other class that has the action. But Davey Johnson now out front in the 11, as he was able to surpass the 55. And Davey Johnson looking to get a win here in the Daytona 2.4 hours as he has gotten around the GT Daytona leader. And here comes GT Le Mans leader Griffin Lynn looking to lap everybody in the GT Daytona class.
Looks like a leader versus a leader is going to be here soon.
It does appear that it's going to be that. But, of course, the two classes do not compete against each other. They are two separate entities, basically. And it's two race winners here tonight at the Daytona International Speedway. And right now, it's looking like it might be Davey Johnson and Griffin Lynn in victory lane in the Daytona 2.4 hours. Lap 30 of 87 underway here at the Daytona International Speedway. Oh, these guys better be careful closing in on the 66 of Jay Jefferson, who, at least for the second time tonight, I think has messed it up through that corner. Of course, Davey Johnson, he should let Griffin Lynn go. He should not hold him up in any way. He is the leader in this class, of course, and he's got a couple guys in between him. He's got Jay Jefferson now in between him and the second place guy in GT Daytona, Christian Vargas. So, you know, throughout this portion of the racetrack, it's kind of hard to let a guy go, but number 8 of Griffin Lynn, I believe he'll probably pass the 11 as they go through the speedway portion of the racetrack. That's when those Le Mans cars are much faster than the Daytona cars.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too.
So you're going to see Griffin Lynn here.
Look how...
Draft the 11, and you should be able to dive to the inside and probably clear them before they hit the bus stop chicane. And that's what's going to happen. Ooh, boy, that's the second time we've seen that. Griffin Lynn almost got clipped there by the 11. That Daytona car of Davey Johnson almost slid up and ran into him. But fortunately, it did not happen. Now you got Ace Garcia here running in the midst of the second place runner in GT Daytona. So it's kind of all happening at once. Griffin Lynn is checked out, and the next guy in line on the racetrack is the 64 of Jordan Lopez. He is miles ahead right now. So this number 8 is at a major advantage. Nobody ahead of him for quite a ways on the racetrack, and it's going to definitely give him an advantage. So Ace Garcia now trying to get around the number 3 of Chespin Pokey, who's just taken the second position away. The 55 fell to 3rd. And that's an unfortunate one there for Christian Vargas in his first ever start, but nonetheless still a great run for him. It's a 24-car class in GT Daytona, and in a race like this, finishing 3rd, finishing on the podium, definitely a highly successful accomplishment.
Yeah, considering everything that's been going on tonight with all the crazy beating and banging and crashing, yeah, podium does not sound bad.
It definitely doesn't. And this is a big event, a very long event, and finishing on the podium position, or finishing on the podium. I'm tired. Been up since 6 o'clock this morning. Okay, give me a break. But finishing on the podium, definitely a very, very successful thing in this event. And right now, the podium for GT Le Mans would be Griffin Lynn, Ace Garcia, and Michael Canto. And in the number 11 of Davey Johnson, Chespin Pokey, and Christian Vargas would be the podium for GT Daytona. We'll go through the field in GT Le Mans. Number 8, Griffin Lynn, leader. Second place right now, Ace Garcia, 4.5 seconds behind. And you got Michael Canto running 3rd, the number 7 But Justin Roberts, he's 4th right now in the GT Le Mans class. How about William Brock? Really didn't talk about him too much earlier on. He's up to the 5th position. 6th right now, I believe, might be the number 13. And that car is Roger Ray. I don't think we've mentioned him all race long. Eli Bright might have an issue. He's falling back. He just lost another position to the 49 and the 34. The 34 of Alex Stewart, the 49 of Diego Yepes getting around him. I don't know if there is damage on that machine or what, but he has fallen back to 9th. And I think you guys have been noticing that he has been falling back throughout this race. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that machine. But definitely an issue for Eli Bright, an unfortunate issue as well, as he is falling back right now. I think he's in the 9th position and about to lose the 9th position to the 38 of Stuart Grattan. We haven't really talked about Grattan too much in this race. I don't think we've talked about him at all. But Stuart Grattan is definitely a good driver, but he's had a tough one here tonight. Still in the lead lap, but I think he got a pretty poor starting position, and that kind of held him back in this one, unfortunately. So that's the deal there. They go through the bus stop chicane. Eli Bright 9th right now in the 23 with Grattan rounding out the top 10. So Ace Garcia has gotten around Davey Johnson, and now he has a clean racetrack in between him and Griffin Lynn. Davey Johnson, not as much of a lead for him as Griffin Lynn has. About, we can do the math here. Oh, we actually can't now because they're all lapped down officially. So we really don't know the gap for these guys. But I can tell you that Chessman Pokey is closing in a little bit on the veteran driver here. And we got these Le Mans cars coming through. Michael Canto and the 7 of Justin Roberts looking to get around these GT Daytona cars.
Also, I'd like to say here, it looks like we're probably going to come up with our pit stops pretty soon. I've been noticing, I think it's about every 12 laps. Is when we start seeing the pit stops. So
that is about the fuel window here at Daytona.
So,
and,
lap 36.
So we'll probably be about lap 36 when we start seeing some guys coming in. There's one guy coming in. That's the 88. Daytona car Brad Stover. So I think that's starting the cycle right there. Oh, boy. Oh, that's not good at all for Griffin Lynn. That number 6 of Noah Clifton, that's not the first time he's messed somebody up in this race. I believe he held up Zachary Fitzwater when he was actually battling with Griffin Lynn for the lead earlier on. Now for Lynn, I don't think it's going to affect him too much, but that did close the gap in by over a second. You see Ace Garcia running second right now, 3.89 seconds behind our race leader. And now he's got another GT Daytona car in the way. That's the 75 of Ryan Kendall. But I believe Kendall is running just as fast as everybody else, so I don't believe there's too much of an issue there.
Now, if my math is correct here, and if it's around every 12 laps estimated, this race won't really be necessarily a kind of a fuel mileage, but it won't be decently close because their last pit stop should be around lap 84, which would put us at around 4 or 3 to go.
That could definitely make things interesting if the last round of pit stops right near the end.
I'll just do it on math there.
He's having a hard time getting around this 75, and Ace Garcia is storming right behind him here. He's finally going to get around Ryan Kendall. Oh boy, it just keeps on happening. That Daytona car's on the inside. They jump that curb entering the bus stop chicane, and they almost come up and clip the number 8, the Le Mans cars, as they're trying to pass them. Always a very interesting scenario when that occurs, and it's happened quite a bit here tonight, here at Daytona. But realistically, this has been a very successful event. I think we only have maybe one guy out of the race. That's Nathan Ormond. He was leading earlier on. He's 9 laps down right now, so I think that means he's out. the number 6 of Noah Clifton still out there, so only one car officially out of the race. Not bad at all, considering we're 35 laps into this thing, probably over an hour of the way, or probably over an hour of this race completed here tonight.
We're getting closer on there. Also, I think the number 6 there, I think he might, the way he's been, since he's been slower, I think he might have a cylinder down. Or maybe down on horsepower or something, because it just not been his night.
He's definitely not going as fast as everybody else. I can guarantee that. And when I say not going as fast as everybody else, I mean not going as fast as all the GT Daytona cars. Ace Garcia came down, and Le Mans guys are coming down the pit lane here. Christian Vargas, one of the leaders in GT Daytona, also coming down. Should focus on the GT Daytona guys and see what's going on with them. Trying to find Davey Johnson. Here's Johnson. Oh, that's an issue. That's Trey Bartow. Le Mans car getting into one of the Daytona cars, exiting the pit lane. Bartow's had a struggling night in at number 4.
Cody Spark got into him.
Yes, he did. The 45, the major issue there. On the 4, Trey Bartow. There's Davey Johnson. I am pretty sure he is still the leader in the class. I think he's staying out a little bit longer. He's got the 33 right behind him, though. He might not have come down yet. Yeah, he's come down the pit lane. I think the Daytona guys have actually already finished their cycle, so the 11 and the 33, I believe, are the 2 guys. Or no, I think the 55 and the 3... Oh, yeah. Chespin Pokey is now the leader in GT Daytona. He got a great pit stop on Christian Vargas, and especially Davey Johnson and the 33 car of Alex Tanker. So this is getting very, very interesting. That's all I can say. And now we got the number 7, Jordan Lopez, coming off the pit lane. I do believe Griffin Lynn. Can't tell if he's come down or not. I think he has, so pretty sure that this is cycled through. And we really weren't paying attention too well, and kind of missed it all.
Whoa.
Comes to 71 down. That's Nathan Stapleton. Really haven't talked about him too much in the GT Daytona class, but he's, I think, still on the lead lap in that class, so great run for him. So Chespin Pokey, Christian Vargas, and the 11 of Davey Johnson, the top 3. Trying to find those guys on the racetrack. And there is your leader right there. A very significant lead right now in the 55. And that is definitely a good thing for Chespin Pokey. It's been a while since he's won a race on that fan. As a matter of fact, I think he only has 1 win. That came in the NRLOA kickoff race 2016 in his first ever start. So not too successful of a career, but winning this race would definitely be a successful accomplishment. Now, he's going to have all these Le Mans guys trying to get around him. As you see the 15 here, trying to get around the 21, the 15 car of Jake West. Right now, 10th in the Le Mans class. So back to the lead. Griffin Lynn and Ace Garcia. I don't want to call this guy so many different things. Oh boy, you're messing with my mind, man. If you're reading the chat. I don't know if you're reading the chat, but it's crazy.
That is messing my mind. What? Okay, I get it.
So, number 20 of Ace Garcia trying to get to the number 8 here of Griffin Lynn. Griffin Lynn has been the dominant guy in this class, in this race, no question. But the GT Daytona class, they've seen their fair share of leaders, and I think we just saw another change. Christian Vargas around Chespin Pokey. That is Alex Tanker in the number 33. He has gotten around the number 11 of Davey Johnson. Johnson is now down to 4th in the class. That is the 56 of Micah Knapp. Haven't talked about him all night long. He is running in the 5th position in GT Daytona. And with the way these Daytona cars have gone in this race, yeah, it's actually pronounced Pokey. He told me back in the day. But with the way these Daytona cars have actually gone, and especially through that first corner entering the road course portion of the racetrack, we really don't know who's going to win this race, because consistency really isn't the key, because these guys have been losing the lead and losing positions, losing ground the whole race long because specifically of that corner. We saw Richard Kingart leading this class earlier on in this race, and he ended up spinning through that corner. Not exactly what he wanted to do, and we've seen a lot of that in the GT Daytona class here tonight. But the number 8, definitely a great run for him. Not sure if you have other guys joining us now or not. We might not. But let's have to check in and see.
Yeah, we can go.
I don't think anybody else
I'm going
is.
to expect more problems over there in that entry for the Daytona class.
And of course, if you guys are in the hangout, go ahead and join. I mean, you're in the hangout for a reason. Griffin Lynn, 4-second lead on Ace Garcia. And it's kind of stayed that way for quite a while. There's Trey Bartow. He's about to go a lap down. And remember, he had the issue with, was it Cody Smart? Exiting the pit lane on the last cycle of pit stops.
He had that.
And he is about to go a lap down in the GT Le Mans class. And how about this? You know, it'd be Bartow and Fitzwater, the two guys a lap down in the class. Both of those guys have more wins than anybody else, you know, in that whole field. So it's just fascinating how these veterans have had a hard time in this endurance race.
Definitely.
I think, you know, this is relating to the real Rolex 24 here. I am pretty sure they've only had one caution all day in that thing, which is
yeah, it was because that car got slow.
Yeah, and it really wasn't even for a crash. I mean, that just that shows like the talent of all the drivers in this year's Rolex 24.
Yeah, someone did blow a tire pretty bad about probably say about 20 minutes ago, but they did throw a caution for it. I think that driver went back to the garage. I didn't see who it was. But...
yeah, I haven't been paying attention too much because I was busy working on this, but still, it's amazing. I mean, they've gone a long time without a break, and hey, you gotta hand it to those drivers. They're definitely professionals. A lot better than we are.
Yeah.
So I will say, if you were invited to the hangout call for this race, go ahead and pop in if you'd like to, and give me and Cody some company. We're kind of lonely out here, you know. It's just been the two of us all night, and
Well, yeah, me.
I want to hear some new
Oh, we got
voices
Nathan.
here.
We got Nathan here.
How long have you been here anyway?
Like good 5 minutes.
And you didn't even say anything?
All I said was definitely once.
I thought that was probably Cody saying something, but hey, you know, I know you really weren't watching the first, 35 laps of this thing, but this is the situation we got now. We got Griffin Lynn, 5-second lead on Ace Garcia. He's been out front most of this night. Do you think he might make a mistake before the end of this thing?
Well, we still have over half of the ways to go in this Daytona, and I've never raced either before tonight, but I've been watching the real life Rolex 24 past 3 years now, so I know a lot about it, and most of the time, everyone makes at least one mistake in a race here, so I think it's going to just be whoever makes the mistake is just going to determine of how big that mistake cost them or how little that mistake will cost them.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of mistakes, especially in the GT Daytona class here tonight, and I think Davey Johnson might have made one, possibly. I'm not sure if this is just another cycle of pit stops, but he was one of those leading guys, and now he's back to, I think, 8th in the class. Maybe 9th in the class. Yeah, he's 9th in the class right now, so something happened to him. Still, a top 10 in the GT Daytona class isn't too bad, considering there are 24 cars, but Davey Johnson, he was leading at one point in the GT Daytona field, and right now, not exactly what he wants, currently running 9th in that class, so Christian Vargas in his first ever start in Napa Fan leads it. There he is. Chespin Pokey, I think, might have come down the pit lane. I'm wondering if Davey Johnson came down the pit lane, so it might not have been an issue for him. But we might be seeing our 4th cycle of pit stops already in this event.
Well, this would be kind of early since it would be around lap 48. But this could be strategy.
Definitely could. Get that early run, get those good tires, go a little bit faster than everybody else for a little bit longer. Got a good battle here for 3rd in GT Le Mans between Michael Canto and Justin Roberts. And Roberts trying to surpass the 10 here. That's for the 3rd position.
Hey,
Great battle going on here.
Pitted.
Number 13 as well. Haven't really talked about him too much. Roger Ray. And I believe this might only be his 2nd ever start on Napa Fan. He's running in the 5th position. So a great run in this class for him. He's been able to survive a lot of the madness that has occurred here tonight. And there he is. 5th here at Daytona on the road course. But Griffin Lynn, he's just starting to become the gold standard, and no pun intended. I know that's the Golden Knights, or no, Army's the Black Knights. But still, there's gold on that car, and he's the gold standard right now here at Daytona. He's led the most laps in GT Le Mans, and he's on the verge of getting this victory, but we're still not even halfway through this thing. A mistake could cost you, and this is something that I remember hearing earlier today when I was watching the Rolex 24. Like in a football game, if you make a mistake, you can still come back and win. If you make a mistake in a race, however, in a motorsports race, you pretty much get taken out of competition. So we've seen mistakes happen, especially in the GT Daytona class. It's not as likely in the Le Mans class, but still, you never know. It's a really long race, and one mistake could end it all for one of these drivers. Ace Garcia's been holding on pretty good. Under 6 seconds behind the 8 of Griffin Lynn. Ace Garcia going for his 2nd career Napa Fan win. Got his first one in the NOFSRL versus NRLOA battle earlier this year. Or earlier last year, I should say.
Yeah, and I don't think we've talked a lot about the 20, but he's just been constantly up in the top 5 this entire race. So if anything would happen to Griffin Lynn, and I know the 20's 5 seconds back there, but I would definitely put him as an underdog.
Yeah, Ace Garcia has not led at all tonight, I don't believe, and you know, he's been as close to the lead as anybody has without getting there, so definitely going to be interesting to see if he can possibly get this lead from Griffin Lynn as this race goes along. And those pit stops are definitely going to be the determining factor to whether or not he'll be able to do so. But Griffin Lynn still out front, getting around one of the GT Daytona machines, and Great run for him so far in this event. We might be having pit stops in GT Daytona. I don't believe we are, so not entirely sure what the deal was with Davey Johnson. You see him here. He has moved up one position in the class. He's about to go a second lap down, however. You see the number 8, Griffin Lynn, not too far behind him.
Well, actually, I did a little bit here of thinking, and that could have been a strategy. He will have to pit one less time now than the rest of the field. Since he pitted on lap 41, he'll only have to pit, I think, 4 more times, as the rest of the field will have to pit 5.
You definitely could be right. We've seen these kind of things before. Strategy play can definitely be a major factor. And in a long race like this, strategy is important. And we'll just have to see.
Oh, and yes, we are halfway.
Oh, contact!
Oh,
Davey
boy.
Johnson hit the 8 of Griffin Lynn there just a little bit. The 8 should be fine, but that could have been disastrous. And here we go. I mean, you're right. I think that 11 did come down the pit lane. That's the only explanation to why he fell back as much as he did. So if that's the case, he might actually be taking the lead here in the class here very shortly. And from your calculations, I think you were saying that the last pit stop would be around lap 84.
Yeah, and for him it'd be 77.
Yeah, and he wouldn't have to come down during that last 3-lap stint there. He can make it to the end from lap 77 and stay out. So could be the advantage for Davey Johnson. We'll just have to see. He has moved up a little bit more, trying to find the other GT Daytona guys, and I think the number 55 might be the only one who is yet to come in of the leaders. The 56 and the 99. Patrick Smith is up to 3rd now in that class. The 86, that car driven by Matthew Phillips.
Fitzwater way off.
Yeah, Fitzwater's had a lot of struggles here tonight. He's now 2 laps down. His car is obviously damaged in some way as the Daytona cars are passing him, and the Le Mans cars are definitely supposed to go much faster than that. So an unfortunate break for Fitzwater. He was leading quite a bit of this race early on. And fortunately he lost the lead to Griffin Lynn and had an issue. Christian Vargas is still out there in the 55 trying to stretch it as long as he can. I think that the 56 and the 99 decided to come down. And they did. You see him coming off now. 56 of Micah Knapp. And the 99 of Patrick Smith there. There's Davey Johnson. And I think what happened, I think Johnson had an issue and he had to come down the pit lane to fix it, because he's still a little ways behind these guys who just came down. You see the number 33 here as well. I believe he has come down as well. And it's Alex Tanker, who might cycle to 5th once this whole thing cycles through. It get really complicated. Anyways, I believe we might have seen some of the Le Mans guys come down, including our leader, Ace Garcia. There he is in the number 20. The number 8, however, I believe stayed out on the racetrack, and there he is. No, I keep on getting Jay Jefferson's car mixed up with Griffin Lynn's, and they're in different classes. There he is, number 8 of Griffin Lynn. Lap 46 of 87. Griffin Lynn has been the dominant guy in GT Le Mans. And, what are you guys' thoughts on this dominance? I mean, of course, we kind of would expect something at a road course like this, but do you think he's going to be able to keep it until the end of the race?
Well, I think pit stops will overall determine the winner, and who knows, Griffin Lynn could very well possibly make a mistake. Like, we still have 40 laps left in this race. So that's 40 laps straight. You can make a mistake every turn and every lap. So
Definitely. What do you
Well,
think, Cody?
yeah, and yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Nathan on this one. Definitely, what we've seen already this so far is definitely not gonna change in my opinion. Now, what I'm going now, if these guys get bundled up again, or I mean, jumbled up again, the Daytona class, like we've said, has had problems in the inner of the road course, and that we haven't
Cautions
really seen
are,
it affect the Le Mans,
yeah, those
but
lightning
I
cautions are
think it
turned
could.
off.
Yeah,
So
and
they
I think
wouldn't necessarily get bunched back up again. Um, but I mean, then again, you're right. You know, those guys, those Le Mans cars are no, the Daytona cars. They've been having issues right there, that part of the racetrack, and even so, there you go. I mean, the 72 around that.
whoa,
Oh, and one of the Le Mans
oh,
cars just ran right into him. That was Jake West, and that's going to end his
well,
night.
thank you for putting a pet.
That's the second time tonight one of us has mentioned
It,
something, and you know, we could have an issue. Well, we had an issue right when we mentioned it. That was the 72 of Derek Hamill, and he was one of those guys up front in the Daytona class earlier on. And I believe, yeah, he had an issue. I guess he just kind of fell off from that lead pack earlier on and fell back. That's a tough break for him. He overshot that corner and hit that curb. That's the big thing. Whoa!
oh,
oh man,
Justin
hazard.
Zidell. Oh, this might not end well. That 20 is upset. Ace Garcia trying to get around him. Oh, and we got 3 wide
oh boy.
with Griffin Lynn passing 2 GT Daytona cars at once.
I think Griffin Lynn got the news of what happened last lap and says, I'm not going to deal with this.
Yep.
Well, from my road course experience, it's still a long way to go. And in my opinion, Griffin, it's too early to make those 3 wide moves. In my opinion,
Well, I mean, he's
especially.
only passing cars that are not even in his class. I mean, it's just the way it happened. I don't think anything's really affected. But you know, if that 45, you know, came down just a slight little bit, trying to avoid the 6-2 is outside, there would have been an issue, and that number 8 could have been involved. But Ace Garcia, I mean, he got slowed up with the number 16 of Justin Zidell. Michael Canto has gotten around the 13 of Roger Ray. And next guy in the line is the 7 of Justin Roberts, who's fallen back to 5th. So, definitely a very fascinating race, and he's got Jake West here in the 15 who was involved in that crash, and he ended up getting involved right off, right at the exit of pit lane, so he has to go all the way around the racetrack and nurse that thing back to the pit lane, and that 45 of Cody Smart almost ran into him. You might want to watch for this. This could be an issue.
Well, and also I think that number, the 711 car, I think just
72.
wheel hopped it through that little curb and just was wrong place at the wrong time for that number 15.
It does appear that Jake West is going to finally take that thing to the garage, and he might be one of the first drivers out. 98 of Richard Kinghart, I think he had an issue as well. I mean, so many things going on, and we don't have cautions to review anything. We got to keep on going with the recording here. Oh, brother. That was a very interesting moment there with Riley Spurley jumping the curb. Not the first time we've seen that tonight with the GT Daytona cars, but for some reason the slower class is seeming to overshoot the corner more. Very fascinating scenario, and just cannot really explain it. But anyways, Griffin Lynn, and we got another... I think that might just be the smoke from the 40, or from the 15 possibly. But Griffin Lynn now entering the bus stop chicane, getting around Chessman Pokey. We haven't focused on the lead in GT Daytona in a little bit. and things have changed. We might be kind of in the middle of another pit cycle through the GT Daytona cars, and I believe the GT Daytona guys have a smaller fuel window than the Le Mans cars, so it could actually... Oh my goodness, it
Oh
did.
no.
49.
So, what that
Well, that
does is it
just put us.
effectively ends the race. We're going to make this official anyway, and that will give the win to Griffin Lynn and the 56 of Micah Knapp in GT Daytona. So let's just say the rain came and that effectively kind of just canceled the race. But I guess the issue is,
Lightning
especially when we
storm.
run, I'm going to explain this here, especially when we run a racetrack like this, of this size, and we have enough cars having issues, enough cars with damage, the game just doesn't take it, and that's what effectively happens. But 49 laps, you know, we tried. I had a feeling that something like this was going to happen, and I apologize. But you know what? We're going to call it official. We don't have any official results, but we will have podiums here, and this is the podium, I believe, for GT Le Mans. Griffin Lynn, the winner. The second place driver in that class was... You guys can help me out there. I was Ace Garcia. He was still in that position. I believe Michael Canto was in the third position. And Micah Knapp gets the win in GT Daytona. Not exactly sure what happened with the 56 there, how he got to the lead, but he's the winner. I think it might have happened right in between pit cycles. So Micah Knapp the winner in GT Daytona with the 33 of Alex Tanker second and the 99 of Patrick Smith third. So yes, it's not necessarily a 2.4 hours. But hey, we're gonna. I mean, we went way too long. Hey, we got 49.
Actually, wait a minute.
Laps in. So still, congratulations to the winners. You know, these will count as official Napa fan wins, even though the game stopped. We once actually did this in the Air Electric Pro Series race. In one of the Air Electric Pro Series races, it was at the GNC Stunt Road. That place is crazy, by the way. And we had a similar situation. You know, it's a pretty odd racetrack, a lot of graphics on the racetrack, and we had a lot of cars with damage. And when it got a lot of cars with damage, and especially in a long race like this, it's just hard for the game to handle it. But hey, I'm glad I tried. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I apologize about this, but what can you do? You know, we're not going to go back and redo it just for that. But congratulations to Griffin Lynn and Micah Knapp, the winners in their respective classes. And yeah, I mean, you know, we ended it a little bit early, but what were your thoughts on this race? I mean, definitely interesting with what we had.
Nathan, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, granted that I came in late, I didn't see most of it, but I saw that they were just messing up that bus stop, and like I knew that was the 12th spot, one of the two 12th spots that entire race, and unfortunately, the rain came and we weren't able to finish this race. But
now, in real life, it's actually probably raining right now at the Rolex 24 because I know they were getting called for that. In real life, IMSA doesn't call a race for rain, but you know, we have to come up with some lousy excuse for this thing happening. So yeah, this is unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but still, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed. I think we definitely had fun, and I think that's really what counts in this whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy about what we were able to do. I think, it was kind of a spur of the moment idea, and it definitely helps give me ideas for the future. And yeah, I mean, thank you guys for joining me for this race. Definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, no problem.
And
maybe we can do this again in the future, because
Cody didn't get to share his thoughts, so let's go ahead and see what he has to say.
Yeah, I just I do appreciate it here. It's I always love commentating. That's one of my favorite pastimes. I'll just go on NR 2003 and just get a random race and just commentate it. And I like commentating. I like making up stuff. and having fun with it. And it is, I do appreciate it very much that you would invite me to this and have me help you out with this. Haven't really done much because I've had the flu, so this gives me something to do. Definitely an awesome idea, an awesome race. And hopefully next year we can do it too.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it a little bit shorter so we can avoid this problem. Because we did get 1.2 hours in, so hey, not too bad. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, guys, and I would like to apologize again for this happening. I had a feeling this was going to occur. This was definitely a big task for the game. The computer was not the issue in any way. I gotta tell you what, this is what my computer this whole time was doing. It was running NR 2003, live streaming the race onto YouTube, had Hangouts open, and I also had the Rolex 24 on through my computer. I had it hooked up to my TV, and everything, no joke, with the exception of the game crashing, worked just fine. The computer's not the issue, it's the game. It's 15 years old. It's pretty good for a 15-year-old game. I gotta tell you that. It's unfortunate that those kind of things happen, but the good thing is when we do the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, if something like that were to happen, doesn't happen live, and we can kind of just redo it, and you guys never know. This was live, and obviously, we couldn't get through it, but still, I had fun. This was awesome, and thank you to everyone who watched and liked and everything. Go ahead and subscribe to Cody Still, Nathan Stapleton. They're in the description. Go ahead and check them out, and yeah, I'm really happy. I think we had a fun night, and I'm still glad we were able to do this. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and officially the wins will go to Griffin Lynn and Micah Knapp. They were the leaders at the time of the game crashing, as you can see by the scoreboard, and yeah, they're the winners here for the Daytona. I guess you could say 1.35 hours, probably about how much we got in. But yes, thank you guys very much for watching. Congratulations to Griffin Lynn and Mike Knapp on behalf of Nathan Stapleton and Cody Sill. Thank you guys so much for joining me. That is it for me. Chick-fil-A Cup Series coming in 2 weeks. Sign-ups on Friday. We're going to be working on that, and it's going to be fun. Definitely going to be fun, and we'll not have this issue when we get there. Don't worry. I'm smart. I'll figure it out. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.